Well, hello there, and welcome to the wrap up to enemy UFOs. Sorry it's taken me so long to get this video out. Um, the very last thing we need to do here is now that we've got our enemies spawning, we got the three enemies that show up here. Um, if we run into them, we die. There's a couple things. At the moment, our terrains have a little bit of a glitch in them now. I guess it has something to do with all these arrays that I've added to the program. So first I want to clean up this glitch with the terrain, these little gaps that are appearing right here. And so my fix for that, we go down to line 23 here. Well, technically, line 25. I'm going to throw a variable down here called terrain overlap. And I'm going to set that equal to 3. Okay. Maybe this wasn't the best place to put this because it's right next to these arrays right here. And a bunch of students kept thinking that I should have the brackets there. I don't want the brackets there. Anyway, terrain overlap equal to 3. Got that? I'm going to copy that. We're going to fix this problem right now. Down in add terrain, which is at the end of your code, very close to it, you're going to find that add terrain's really changed a whole lot. There's this new for loop with some space where we're going to be adding code here. It's going to help be determining what colors we're going to use for the 3 different colors we're going to apply to the upper and lower terrains. And it's going to create the terrain elements. But this is where we can add that little bit of code that I want to. I'm going to add to the terrain width. This line of code right here is where we're actually creating the individual rectangles that make the terrain. So the individual rectangles get made here. They get placed at specific positions, and adding this little bit to their width will cause each of the rectangles to overlap the previous rectangle. So it's going to overlap them. Correction, it's going to overlap the next. So or maybe that might be underlapped. It's going to underlap the next, go underneath the next rectangle that's coming. Anyway, add that terrain overlap there. Try not to destroy your comma. You have to do this for both parts of the terrain because both upper and lower terrains are being made individually. And now the nice thing is by pasting plus terrain overlap on those 2 lines of code there now, when I hit the go button, everything's seamless. No more lines in between my terrain elements. They all look nice, just the way they should. So happy with that. All right, now let's get to the meat of the matter. We're going to be creating these terrains so that they have 3 different colors in them. And we're also going to start another timer, a terrain timer. So we're going to need a delay for that called rain delay. And this number, I'm just going to set it equal to the same rate of speed that our game is moving at. Frame rate of new frame every 40 milliseconds, which is 25 frames a second. And set that terrain delay. And then down here where we have our colors, we have 2 colors right now. This upper terrain color, I'm going to change it into upper terrain color 1. And then I'm going to copy that whole line of code. So upper terrain color 1, I'll paste it, and I'll paste it again. And I will turn it into color 2 and to color 3. Do the same thing for lower terrain. Change that to lower terrain color 1, copy the whole line of code, enter key sometimes, paste, paste, and then change again to color 2 and color 3. Now, I already have elsewhere picked my 6 colors that I want to use for this activity. You should be going over to color hex and getting 6 individual colors that you might like to have. These are the colors that I used for my palette. And so when I selected them, I'm just going to come over here and I'm going to copy them nice and easy because I've already created them. So I'll copy them there. You're going to go get 6 colors that you want to have. Paste them there. Now all my 6 colors are there. And my code's broken too because I've wiped out that upper terrain color 1. Upper terrain color doesn't exist anymore. Lower terrain color doesn't exist anymore. But that's okay. Once you've got your 6 colors, then please join me down in the add terrain function. Whoop. There we go, into add terrain. All right, you should have paused the video before you jump down here so you could go get your 6 colors. So once we get down here, I'm going to change this variable here from upper terrain color to upper terrain color 1. And I'm going to change this variable down here from lower terrain color to lower terrain color 1. All right, doing that on purpose. My code's not broken anymore. That's kind of nice. You know, for grins and giggles, if I want to, I could change it to color 2. Change that one to color 2. And then, oh, there's my other colors. All right, that works. Or if I wanted to, I could change it to color 3. Color 3. And there we go. Everything's working. I got 6 different colors. I'm changing back to color 1. That's the first one I'm going to need. Up here, we are going to need some local variables here. And now I want to get my cheat sheet, even though I could do this by memory, I'm pretty sure. Still, it's good to have your cheat sheet. You should have your cheat sheet. Let's see. There we go. Focused. So we're going to have a variable here called color this pass underbar capital U capital T. Just leave it at that. And then we're going to have another var. It's going to be called color this pass underbar LT. Can you at all guess what UT and LT might be referring to? And these two variables, when this for loop is executing, every value of I will generate these two variables. And that this is going to determine, which color we're going to use for this particular pass through the for loop. And so we got these number of terrain elements here. Secretly, that number sits at about 42. There's about 42 of them. So we want 1/3 of those, basically 14, painted our first color. And we want the next 14 painted our next color, and the last 14 painted in our last color. And that's what these 3 empty blocks of code are set up to do for us. So, for the first 1/3 of the screen width, we're going to use 2 colors for the upper and lower. For the second third of the screen width, we're going to use 2 colors for the upper and lower. And for the last third of the screen width, we're going to use the last 2 colors. So we need to set some conditions here. So again, whenever we're using for loops, that variable I, that counting variable I, it's just, it gets used. It's part of sometimes the tasks you're trying to accomplish. It's not just counting how many times we go through the for loop. We're actually using it to make decisions. So looking at that variable I, when I is 0 to 13, we want to use 1 color. So we're looking for I to be less than, and then I certainly don't want to type that. U, number of elements, I want to type that. And I'm going to multiply that by 1 divided by 3, 1/3. So if I is less than the number of terrain elements times 1/3, that's going to mean if it's 42, I is less than 14. Then we want to use, we want color this pass. In fact, you know what? Let's be clever. I can copy both of them. I can paste one, but then I'm going to have to go fix the indenting on the other, but that's okay. Equals. And then down here, let's see. The good way to do this, copy that again. Paste it. Like that. Paste it. Nice. Copy that again. Go down to lower terrain. Paste it. Cut that. Put it up here. All right. So now, the program is set up. We'll see that it'll work. It should still be working. Should be working fine. Press the go key, and here we go. Color 1 is dominating. The color this pass gets set to that, never gets changed again, so it's basically stuck at that brown and light brown. And the color this pass upper terrain and color this pass lower terrain variables pass the color in while we're making the individual rectangle elements. Now the next part of this thing, I am not going to copy that. This is what I want to copy. I want to copy this right here. Control C, paste it, and we're going to change less than to greater than. So you want to change less than to greater than right there. Make that a greater than symbol. We want to be greater than that 1/3 of the number of terrain elements point. But we have an and condition here. We want to be less than 2/3. So copying or pasting that again, leaving the less than, and setting our limit at 2/3 of the number of elements. Now you go away. We will be getting inside of this else if. And here I'm just going to copy both of these lines. Getting so close. And change the ones to twos. Excellent. Now, the last situation here, I'm not a number of terrain elements that's less than 1/3 of the terrain elements. If I'm not in between that 1/3 point, 14 and 28, if I'm not in between there, then I must be in the last 1/3 of the elements. So I'll just paste that again, take out that unnecessary extra space, and pop in color 3 for the colors. The cool thing is now I can see that, yeah, all my colors are there. But there's a small glitch. Do you see the small glitch? Like right there, almost in the middle. There's a little terrain element that seems a little out of place. Well, to make that go away, we've created a gap. We never ever actually get number of terrain elements exactly at the 1/3 point. So by making like line 404 greater than or equal to, that gap is gone. By gap, the gap is gone. We've fallen into the gap. So make that equals 2 right there, and that little gap goes away. And we press go, and here we are. We're off to the races. Now, we're almost done. We need to go up to the game loop real quick. There's something temporary up there. Hopefully I added it to your code, but we're going to go ahead and delete that, and we're going to grab that move terrain function call. I'm going to just cut it, take out the extra unnecessary spaces. Then I'm going to go all the way down to the add terrain function again. Well, just past that. Right past where we were working, here's this thing called the terrain timer. That's where I want to paste move terrain. I'm going to paste move terrain right there in the terrain timer. And then notice this last little comment right here. This is at the end of add terrain. At the very end of add terrain, this little comment says set the terrain in motion while waiting to start. And so that means set timer to call the terrain timer. And we want to do that every terrain delay. That little bit of code, the terrains are now moving before you've even started to fly the ship. And then we can press the G key, and there we are. We're off to the races. All right. That wraps up what we did. Hope you have a great one. Hope you had success. Remember, you can always pause this. I'm easy to slow down on YouTube. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in class.